My name is Crypto Sensei and I'm here to welcome you all back. This is the second portion of Brad Garlinghouse and Monica Long performing on stage at Apex 2025. Guys, if you missed the first portion, you should go watch it. There are a lot of amazing things about Brad and Monica that I had known about before I learnt anything about them. Despite the fact that I had created 1,000 films on Ripple and XRP, I was no longer aware of these concepts. It would be very appreciated if you could go and have a peek at those important times. This is the point at which we are beginning to engage in some level of institutional debate in the vicinity of the XRP ledger beside Brad and Monica Long. Alright boys, let's get right down to business. If you like this article, please click the like button, and if you believe that there is anything of value here for you, please share it. Shall we go? Now that we've covered that, let's move on to discussions about institutional use cases and acceptance. In terms of the use cases on the institutional side, is there anything that you believe is being underestimated or overvalued there? It's possible that we may begin with you, Monica. I believe that payments are still not highly valued. We have been working on this use case for the greater part of a decade, and I believe that we have finally reached a conclusion. Over the course of the past 1 to 2 years, we have finally witnessed stablecoin payments truly capture mindshare with any significant payment participant anywhere in the globe. We are witnessing a significant increase in the traction, not only in terms of market capitalization, but also in terms of stablecoin volumes, which are around $25 trillion. To be sure, it is only a small portion of what global impacts or international payments are, but we are making progress in that direction. Alright, in addition, we will double check this in a few minutes, but it is abundantly evident that you are on one side of the same question. Indeed, in the process of getting ready for this, Monica and I had a conversation with her about how it is fascinating to see the areas in which we can be in disagreement. In addition, I will choose one that we might not agree on. I believe that the institutional use case surrounding identification, namely identity based on blockchain technology, is overstated. Please allow me to elaborate on that comment. A wonderful future would be one in which one's identity is based on blockchain technology and one is able to exploit that technology. This is a great vision to envisage. Oh, I adore that. It is not an overestimation, therefore, that can't be overstated. The reason I believe that it is overvalued as a utility in a use case is that I would like to know who owns your identity, and I will ask you this question rather regularly, perhaps just for fun. That's right, it's not me. Unfortunately, this is the case. No, it is not you. Even more intriguing is the fact that the government is the owner of your identity. You do not possess a passport, a birth certificate, a driver's license, or any other kind of identification. I am not familiar with the dynamics of each nation, but if you do not possess these things, you are not who you claim to be. Your identity is owned by the government. It's possible that we don't like that now. Nevertheless, I consider that to be nothing more than a truism. Ripple has made an effort to be pragmatic, which is one of the things that we have attempted to achieve. Even while my philosophical perspective on something could be over here, in order to establish a business and to promote the growth of the XRP ecosystem, there are times when you just need to be realistic about the world. The concept of blockchain-based identification as a service for blockchains is one that I find very appealing, yet in order to make it truly function, you will need to have the cooperation of the government. To my mind, that is a really challenging task. It's true. Consider it to be significant. He is a very contentious person. He was aware of this. He is playing a prank on me. First he would poke me, and then I would say yes, which I do not believe to be an insurmountable task. In the same way that the government controls our identities, large technology companies do as well. In the same way, this is a challenge that each and every one of us faces. Furthermore, I am of the opinion that there is a substantial amount of potential and potential upside associated with decentralized identification and the utilization of attestations and venture capitalists in order to make it a safe method for us to regain possession of our identities. I concur with you. We are going to have to wait a very long time. I want it to happen, and Ripple could even invest in businesses who are attempting to make it happen because we want it to happen, so that Ripple can pursue it. I want it to happen. My perspective is that it is too difficult to get governments to get involved and make it work. It will take a very long time to complete. It's fascinating. Getting the cooperation of the government. Look at it. Consider the following scenario. You have achieved success. When you have to have government engagement, the economics of how much money you can earn are also questioned, which is another difficulty that I see. If you have to have government participation, then you have to deal with this, due to the fact that governments will regulate it to the point where there is a significant margin of error. What do you think? What if you think of it as something like an infrastructure component or an enabler to, for instance, for institutions to use XRP ledgers DEX, doing a lot of work on permission domains and permitting the permission DEX, but there has to be a way to implement compliance in order to use the DEX. What do you think? Consequently, I consider it to be more of a feature than one that constitutes a whole business. In any case, I continue to believe that the participation of the government is necessary. In other words, one of the things that influenced my perspective on this is that I had a conversation with the chief executive officer of a very significant bank, which took place somewhere between 6 and 7 years ago, and what he told me was that they will not accept the KYC information for even if the Bank of Monica or the Bank of Pat may be multi-billion or multi-trillion dollar banks. He mentioned this to me. In my capacity as Brad's bank, I will not accept your KYC information because in the event that you make a mistake and I go ahead and accept yours, the consequences and the risk to me are likely to be extremely severe. Even though I believe that Pat's bank could be competently managed, I am going to restart the Know Your Customer process. I find it to be really intriguing. When we talk about banks, we mean one of the most significant problems that banks face is risk. The Know Your Customer KYC process has not even crossed my mind. If you have a customer and a bank and this individual is possibly working with both banks, then the two banks will not accept each other's Know Your Customer KYC documents because of the potential for harm. That is a highly intriguing point. I was wondering how, other people are looking at that solution, but even hearing Brad talk about it, it seems like this isn't a large priority for Ripple right now, because when you think about it, there probably isn't a lot of money in it. Your ID is in fact owned by the government. In the event that you go, if you travel or if you go any place, you are required to have this driver's license or you already have this passport. If you do not have one of these things, you will not be able to go. Furthermore, it is fascinating to listen to those points of view. I have never heard the many debate threads regarding digital IDs and how a government would probably control it where there is not a lot of money to be earned. Moreover, this is the reason why Ripple has not made it a high priority, as they are now working to find solutions to issues that are worth $1 quadrillion. Consequently, I believe that it is an overblown utility issue regardless of the circumstances. To reiterate, the image is completely unadulterated and breathtakingly beautiful for a number of the reasons that Monica was addressing. I just believe that it is quite challenging. Alright, I really enjoy having conversations in such manner that you can picture, or on a one-on-one basis. I really wish I could find out. It is time for me to move on. It's true, we'll get to that later. So I'm simply going to... It's true, alright. This is not a problem. After that we are going to proceed. It is therefore underappreciated, overrated, and underestimated for banks to issue their own stables. And then there is a question that follows up on that. I'll be the first to depart. It's true. In addition, I believe it is overvalued. JPM coin has been out in the public as a concept for around 6 years. I believe the difficulty is whether or not Citibank is going to take JPM coin, whether or not B of A is going to accept it, and whether or not MUFG is going to embrace it. In some respects, we have had banks experimenting with this notion for quite some time. It is practically necessary for you to have a neutral player and other neutral players, as you are aware. Additionally, I believe that Tether will continue to have a great deal of success. USDC is going to continue to be successful. Thinking Circle is going to continue to be successful. I also believe that there is a really interesting possibility surrounding RLUSD, and the momentum can be described as quite good. One of the things that people don't realize is that there was a period of time where Ripple was minting 20% of all USDC. I've mentioned this a little bit in public, but it's still hard to believe. And so many of you question me, well, why did you guys decide to get involved? As you say, well, we're already minting, you're saying. Minter of USDC, we were either number 1 or number 2, if not the number 1 minter of USDC. I am thinking, well, wait a minute, why don't we actually lean into this market? This is especially true with regard to our client group and the institutional use cases that we are considering. In addition, I believe that a growing number of folks are beginning to get a portion of our plan concerning the secret route, and the ways in which Hidden Road has the potential to really increase the market for stablecoins through considerable adoption. Our goal is not to outperform USDC or Tether in any way. In my opinion, they will continue to flourish and perform admirably, should be able to increase the size of the pie. This is a question that is quite similar to this one. That being said, the reason I indicated that it is underappreciated